Hello, my name is Thomas McCormick, and this is the Race, Class, Access, Gender, and Equity assignment for AEP 855, Educational Leadership. The goal here is to review 3 articles related to those topics as mentioned in the title slide. The first article I chose was Diversity at Issue as States Weigh Teacher Entry. What is the impact of increasing teacher standards to a diversity of the teachers themselves? The second article relates to Common Core and disadvantaged students. And the third article relates to women. Separation is not the answer. Getting girls interested in STEM subjects by Matthew Lynch. The first article, again, Diversity at Issue as States Weigh Teacher Entry. Basically, the issue here is states are trying to increase standards to improve teacher quality, but the issue is what impact will this have on teacher diversity? We're all aware of some of these background numbers. Let's look at them again. 17% of U.S. teachers are non-white. At 40% of the students in our schools are non-white, and this number is growing. A fact is students of colors need role models in the classroom. I work at a high school with 1,400 students, and over half are non-white, yet less than 10% of the teachers themselves are non-white. So what do we need to do? Are U.S. teacher programs ethnocentristic? Do we need affirmative action, or do we want best qualified? White teachers must be competent in the cross-cultural awareness and practice to improve in the schools with this demographic. As you can see on this slide, that states are working to improve teacher quality, get academically stronger individuals into these teaching programs. The states mentioned there, Connecticut, Delaware, Kentucky, Mississippi, New York, are increasing GPA requirements to get into the teacher education programs. Other states are looking at increasing ACT or SAT scores for entry into the programs. And almost all measures in this category, minority candidates have weaker academic scores. So the concern, of course, is, will these increased standards reduce the supply of minority teachers or teachers of color due to the general achievement gap for these students? The article goes on to ask some questions. How do we achieve the right balance? How do we achieve quality and diversity? One idea is with flexibility. An example could be having a 3.0 GPA apply to the entering cohort versus the individual. So you could have some higher, some lower to give a little flexibility versus a minimum cutoff. You could exempt a small percentage of candidates from admission standards to allow some people to exceed where they're coming from with their qualifying scores. Some best practices we could look at from around the world. We could model Finland, Singapore, and South Korea, which recruit superior academic candidates to bring into the teaching field. It can be done because it has been done, and we can take a look at those models. Of course, their populations may not be as diverse as we are here in America. When we look at this situation or this article from the perspective or vantage point of our textbook, now what can we do now? Well, teachers as leaders, this is a leadership program, of course. In the current environment, we know 83% of teachers are white. So we must understand the psychodynamic approach. Teachers and students' cultures are deeply ingrained. We must accept that and work to increase cultural awareness to improve until we get more minority teachers out there in the field to help out. So we got to understand where we're coming from there and our backgrounds. And we must raise expectations for all students regardless of their background. The second article from Education Week discusses, or the title is Common Core and Disadvantaged Students. The main issue in this article was basically, are the Common Core standards the answer to the achievement gap that currently exists for our disadvantaged students? So first of all, what is the Common Core? The Common Core standards were created by 2 Rhodes Scholars and a range of subject experts and teachers. And currently this has been implemented in my schools, so this article was very interesting to me. Again, these subject matter experts tried to look at things that every student should experience in education and try to get back towards more high quality literature and breadth of content, using some things such as Shakespearean plays and reading books, classics versus things. In my school, they're reading now things such as Twilight, trying to get back to more high quality literature, and I can understand that. Also with writing skills for our students. Currently, they're just having to describe their feelings and things, and the Common Core wants them to understand how to write persuasively, as it says here, to support their argument and things of that nature, to explain things in a coherent fashion. And also with math, they're trying to reduce the redundancy in the courses you take in math, K through 12, so you can move further and faster along the math curriculum versus repeating some of the material over and over again. So these are some of the goals of Common Core. Part of the rationale for the Common Core is that our disadvantaged students hadn't really been taught to this level previously. Our poor or minority students oftentimes are placed in lower level basic courses and vocational courses, not being expected the same high standards of their white counterparts across America. Now the problem comes forward that the initial results from the Common Core, the tests that are linked to the Common Core, have been less than encouraging, discouraging matter of fact. In New York, 67% of students failed these tests the first go around. In Indiana, they're looking at delaying Common Core altogether because of the issues they've heard. In Michigan, funding has been withheld to support the Common Core. In Pennsylvania and other states, there's bills that are pending to try to scrap the Common Core and go back to more locally based standards or state-based standards. So what now? With the states making these changes to scrap the Common Core, what do we do? Do we lower standards and go backwards? How do we determine when students and which students are on track to go to college? Do this, and what grade level do we do this? Do we want to go back to those local standards and controls that have not been successful in the past? The author feels very, very strongly that this is the wrong way to go. And his quotation marks here, his quote is, "It's a ticket back to a second-class educational status for many students," primarily our disadvantaged students he's talking about. From the author's view, Toch clearly believes that we need to continue with the Common Core. He believes his research has shown that students want more rigor in their courses, that the countries around the world that are high performing and educational systems are strong, they have a Common Core standards type of thing, common standards anyway. That they also believe, or the author believes, and these countries believe, that hard work is more important to the student being successful than just their innate ability. If you want to have educational equity, you must have rigor. The two are synonymous. And basically, if you want to close the achievement gap for these disadvantaged students, you must raise expectations. You must not lower expectations, you must raise the bar just as the Common Core does. So the author, Toch, is very much in favor of keeping the Common Core and not scrapping the idea so soon, if ever at all. When I look at this article in context of educational leadership, I try to look at the leadership challenges from my perspective. I'm a member of the school's leadership team, and the situation in my school is we are 62% minority students there at Hunt High School. 48% of our students would be considered economically disadvantaged with free or reduced lunch, and we're presently having the Common Core be implemented for the first year. So as we look at the leadership challenges here, we've first got to address what is needed at our school regarding the Common Core. And I believe we need to embrace the higher standards of Common Core, not panic and want to scrap the idea. Let's work hard towards those. So what we're going to need is transformational leadership from the principal himself and from the team. Get out there and get teachers and students behind Common Core and inspire them to want to achieve great things with the Common Core for all of our students. You need to have that support to make sure that we know how to implement the Common Core. And one of the best tools to do that, I think, would be professional learning communities, where our teachers teaching the same curriculum get together, get best practices, determine what's the best way to deliver the content. If one teacher is more successful than another, share the best practices at our school. And this would help inspire. This would be a transformational type of leadership to accomplish the Common Core. The third and final article was separation is not the answer. Getting girls interested in STEM subjects. So the main issue of this article was, how do we make a cultural change to get more girls or women interested in STEM? Well, the background, if we look at it here, there's a gender gap in STEM subjects, particularly those computer science, engineering, those types of things. When we look at AP classes for computer science specifically, twice as many boys as girls take these courses. If you look at STEM high schools that have been set up just for this area, like schools of math and science and things of that nature, they are 3-to-1 male versus female. However, the Bureau of Labor Statistics reports that these fields in STEM, the job outlook is phenomenal. Matter of fact, it's growing twice the rate of other fields. So we need to take advantage of that and have our girls prepared for the future. When we look at leadership beyond the high school and college experience for the females, we look at a little bit of the background. What are we facing here? According to the article, women still earn 77 cents for every dollar that a man earns. So this is known as a gender gap. And there's a gender gap with high-level leadership positions, high-level management positions in all different fields. Basically, women are underrepresented in these leadership positions. And today's world is still the same. Women are assuming or expected to assume a greater responsibility for domestic responsibilities at the home. So what we need is a cultural change to change this. So when we look at this article about separation is not the answer, getting girls interested in STEM subjects, we're going to tie the two together, that with the leadership opportunities that those with STEM experience may be eligible for in the future as those job opportunities grow and leadership jobs as well. So believe that schools must encourage the boys and girls, all of them, everyone, in the STEM subjects. That's good for America and good for equality. So that's a cultural change, but the article points out this shouldn't start at a middle school, because in New York City, the proposal discussed in the article by a candidate for mayor is they could establish 5 all-girls tech-based middle schools in the different boroughs, the 5 boroughs of New York. And the article says we need to start earlier than that, from preschool on. Let's do the exact same thing. Let's start pushing everybody or encouraging everybody, both girls and boys, to pursue these STEM subjects. This would mean both genders are created or treated, they are created, of course, equally, and treated equally from the start and held to the same high standards. It kind of goes back to Common Core there a little bit. High standards are key here. We can continue in the same area with addressing STEM interests and leadership opportunities for women by offering better mentoring for our female students regarding STEM. Talk to them about the subjects, kind of encourage them heavily to do just that. Now, women also need to take maybe a more strategic view regarding STEM, taking a look at what leadership opportunities this path will provide in the future. So let them know what they're working towards, boys and girls equally, so they have an idea that there's a bright future when you take the STEM courses and help lead to those leadership opportunities that will increase the number of women in these positions of leadership. In summary, again, the articles reviewed were diversity at issue as states weigh teacher entry. And of course, this talks about race and diversity. The second article, Common Core and Disadvantaged Students, talks about, access and class system, if you wanted to put it that way. Talks about that in terms of diversity. And the last one, getting girls interested in STEM projects. Having separate schools is not quite the answer to do that. Talks about gender and how we can improve in that in our educational system and provide opportunities for greater leadership in the future. So again, this summarizes or completes my project for educational leadership on race, class, access, gender, and equity. Thank you.